When we talk about business success, we often think of numbers, profits, growth chart, market share. But imagine this, a city that grows richer while its air grows cleaner, a village that thrives because every entrepreneur is also an environmental steward. A company that wins not just in the stock market but in the hearts of its people. That, dear learners, is a new vision of success. One that serves not only shareholders but all stakeholders, the people, the planet, and the communities we belong to. In the past few decades, our world has faced unprecedented challenges, from climate change to inequality, from resource depletion to the erosion of trust in institutions. These aren't just policy problems, they are business problems too. And that realization gave rise to one of the most powerful ideas in modern management thinking, the triple bottom line, or as we often call it as TBL. The triple bottom line asks a simple but transformative question. What if businesses' performance was measured not by one bottom line but by three? Not just profit, but also people and planet. This idea is more than an accounting innovation. It's a mindset revolution because what we measure defines what we value. So let's begin by understanding where this idea came from and why it has changed the very language of business. Starting with origins and concept. In the early 1990s, sustainability was emerging as a global concern. The Rio Earth Summit in 1992 had united world's leaders around the idea of development that meets present needs without compromising the future. 2 years later, in 1994, a British thinker named John Elkington took that conversation into the boardroom. In his book, Cannibals with Forks, the triple bottom line of 21st century business, he asked, can companies thrive without devouring the very world that sustains them? Ellington argued that true business performance must be judged across three dimensions: profit, the economic value created for shareholders and the society. Secondly, people, the human and social capital built through fair, inclusive practices. Thirdly, planet, the natural capital protected and generated through responsible use. These three are not competing goals. They are interdependent pillars, each sustaining and balancing the other. Without profit, a company cannot survive. Without people, it has no purpose. Without the planet, it has no future. This triple framework became a new scorecard for success. It pushed leaders to ask uncomfortable yet necessary questions. Who benefits from profit? Whose lives improve because of what we create? What footprint Do we live on the planet that hosts us? So for decades, corporate social responsibility has been treated as charity, something done after business. Ellington's TBL flipped that complete logic. He proposed that sustainability is core to business strategy, not peripheral. And slowly, this thinking began to shape a new era, one where value creation was no longer defined by extraction but by regenerations. Let's now explore each pillar of this triple bottom line, beginning with the one that often dominates our attention: profit. But remember, in this new paradigm, profit is not an end itself. It's a means to sustain impact. Profit, economic sustainability. In traditional capitalism, profit has been the central measure of success. The quarterly report, the earnings call, the stock price, all revolve around financial outcomes. But the triple bottom line challenges us to see profit differently. It asks, what kind of profit are we making and at what costs? Profit is vital. It's what keeps organization alive and allows them to innovate. But sustainability reframes it. Profit is no longer the destination. It's the fuel for more inclusive and regenerative journey. Economists Michael Porter and Mark Kramer captures this beautifully in their 2011 Business Review piece, Creating Shared Value. They wrote that businesses and societies are not separate. Their success is interdependent. So, economic sustainability means aligning competitiveness with social progress. It's about designing business models where growth strengthens rather than strains communities and ecosystems. Let's discuss with some of the cases. Unilever's Sustainable Living Plan. One of the most remarkable cooperative transformations came from Unilever. In 2010, CEO Paul Polman announced a bold goal to double Unilever's revenue while having its environmental footprint. Under the Sustainable Living Plan, Unilever integrated sustainability into every brand. For example, the Lifebuoy campaign, help a child reach 5-ton hand washing into a global hygiene mission, saving lives while growing market share as well. The message was clear. Doing good isn't just good ethics, it's good business as well. Let's look into case 2. Tata Group, purpose-led profit in India. In India, few embody this philosophy better than the Tata Group. Long before the term CSR was even coined, Tata Group had built entire township for its workers, hospitals for communities, and even universities for the nation. Even today, nearly 2/3 of Tata Sons' dividends go to Tata Trusts, funding public, welfare initiatives in education, healthcare, and even for their livelihoods. When India's Companies Act of 2013 mandated large firms to spend 2% of profits on CSR, the Tata model showed it was possible to institutionalize compassion voluntarily, not just by regulation. So, economic stability isn't about sacrificing growth. It's all about defining growth more wisely. Let's look into case 3, ITC, e-Chopal, digitalizing rural value chains. Another inspiring example from India comes from ITC's East Chopal initiative started in 2000. It brought the power of information to rural farmers, weather data, crop prices, and direct access to the markets. By bypassing middlemen and empowering farmers, ITC improved productivity and reduced rural poverty while strengthening its own supply chain efficiency. That's the essence of sustainable profits. When your value chain becomes a circle of empowerment. Case 4, interface carpets. In the United States, interface carpets, once a heavy polluter, decided to reinvent itself. Founder Ray Anderson called it his mid-course correction. He aimed to make Interface the world's first fully sustainable industrial company. So they redesigned processes to recycle nylon, cut emissions by 96% and generate energy from renewables, all while remaining still profitable. Anderson said, the business case for sustainability, it's the biggest market opportunity on the earth. So, what does this teach us? Profit is not the enemy of sustainability. It's the enabler when guided by a purpose. Take a moment to reflect. How does your organization create profit? Now ask, who benefits from it and who bears the cost? If your answers reveal imbalance, that's where your next innovation should lie. So we have seen how rethinking profit can lead to prosperity that uplifts everyone involved. But business is more than numbers and systems. It's people. And the next part of our journey explores how organizations thrive when they honor the human side of sustainability. Let's talk about the second pillar, people, and what it truly means to create a business that uplifts humanity. When we speak of people in the triple bottom line, we speak of dignity, fairness, and empowerment. It's about ensuring that growth uplifts everyone who contributes to it. Social sustainability is the human heartbeat of any enterprise. It asks, are our workplaces safe and inclusive? Do we treat workers as costs or as partners in value creation? And do our products enrich communities, or exploit them. In academic language, this connects to stakeholders theory, the idea that a company's duty extends to all who affect or are affected by it, from employees and suppliers to consumers and future generations. Let's look into some of the cases, starting with Amul, the cooperative revolution. In India, the story of Amul is almost synonymous with empowerment. In the 1940s, small dairy farmers in Kheda district were exploited by middlemen. Under the leadership of Dr. Varghese Kurian, they formed a cooperative that placed ownership back into the hands of producers. Today, 3.6 million farmers, many of them are women, own the network that bears their labor's fruit. Profits return to their villages, funding education and healthcare as well. This is not charity, guys. It's structural inclusion, building fairness into the DNA of the business model. Now let's look into the second case, Fab India and Lijat Papad, crafting dignity. Fab India connects over 55,000 artisans to urban markets, while Lijat Papad shows what happens when trust becomes the business model. Started by 7 women in 1959 with just rupees 80. Today, it employs over 45,000 sisters. Every woman is both a worker and an owner. Their motto, Sarvodaya, through self-reliance, upliftment through collective effort. Each woman in the shareholder in her dignity. These models tell us that when people thrive, profits follow, not the other way around. Looking to our next case, Infosys Foundation and Inclusive Leadership. Infosys integrates compassion into its corporate rhythm. Beyond scholarships and rural digital literacy, its workplace culture that emphasizes diversity and mental health. In 2022, the company introduced the Infosys Springboard platform, offering free digital skills training to 10 million learners across India. Social sustainability here becomes a multiplier of opportunity. Now think of an organization you belong to. Who benefits most from this success? And who might be invisible in that celebration? Write down one action you could take to make your workplace more inclusive. When I first started teaching this concept, I realized that I had been focusing on external impact. Donations, programs, CSR. But the deeper question is internal. How sustainable am I in the way I lead, I teach and collaborate? Every change begins with personal accountability. When people feel valued, creativity blossoms and trust deepens. But people cannot thrive if the environment around them collapses. Let's move to the third pillar, planet. Planet environmental sustainability. pillar is about stewardship, the responsibility of every business to safeguard natural systems that sustain all life. Environmental sustainability asks three questions. How do we use resources? How do we waste? How do we renew what we consume? Economist Walter Schahel spoke of the circular economy, where we design products for reuse, repair, and recycling. Instead of take more, dispose, we move to reduce, reuse, generate. So let's talk with some case studies. So case 1, Renew Power. India's clean energy giant. Founded in 2011, Renew Power now supplies over 13 GW of clean energy, preventing more than 10 million tons of CO2 emissions every year. It shows how renewable energy can be both profitable and planet positive. Let's look into the second case, Mahindra Group's Rise for Good and ESG Leadership. Mahindra's philosophy, Rise for Good, combines innovation with climate responsibility. The group's carbon neutral goal by 2040 and its afforestation of millions of trees show how industrial strength can restore ecological balance. Moving on to our next case, Biocon Foundation, Health and Environment. Biocon connects public health with environmental care. Its waste management and clean water initiatives in Karnataka reduce disease burden while protecting natural resources as well. So planet and people are definitely inseparable here. Patagonia's founder, Mr. Yon, recently donated ownership of the company to a climate trust, saying, "Earth is our only shareholder." In Denmark, transformed from a coal utility to a renewable leader within a decade, now supplying green energy to millions. Think of a product you use today. Maybe your phone, a bottle of water, or even your clothes. Where does its journey begin and where will it end? What waste does it leave behind? Write one step you could take to reduce its every impact. I remember once carrying a plastic bottle into the class while teaching this very topic. A student pointed and said, "Ma'am, that's not TBL complaint." It was a gentle reminder that authenticity begins with consistency. Sustainability is not a lecture, it's a lifestyle. So far, we have seen how people, planet, and profit interlock. But how does this translate into modern corporate and policy frameworks? Let's connect the TBL with its descendants, ESG and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Over time, the triple bottom line evolved into a language of metrics and accountability. Investors today look beyond financials to ESG scores, environmental, social, and governance indicators that measure how responsibly a company operates. In India, the SEBI mandates Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report has made ESG disclosure a mainstream expectation. Meanwhile, Niti Ayoga's SDG index tracks how our states perform on 17 global goals, from gender equality to climate action. This is how a philosophy becomes a policy and how a vision becomes a measurement of national progress. Which of the 17 SDGs does your work most contribute to? Could you map your personal purpose to a global goal? As we connect all these threads, we realize that the triple bottom line is not a report or a framework. It's a philosophy of equal balance. Whether designing a business model, managing a team, or consuming mindfully, I am Dr. Swapna, and it's my pleasure to guide you through today's session on sustainability and the triple bottom line. So, in our next session, we will trace the historical evolution of social entrepreneurship, learning how change makers have shaped our global economy. Until then, stay curious, stay conscious, and stay committed to creating impact.